which means what? Their main aim is to make profits. Their main aim is to make profits. So their target is mostly who? Entrepreneurs and businesses. Yes, their main target. They give loans generally to them so that the money gets back to them. It's safe. That's what they feel. They generally do not have the inclination to give loans to whom? Agriculture sector. They don't have the inclination to give loans to, let's say, small industries, micro industries. They don't have an inclination. Why? Because they think it is risky. So commercial banks, their main aim is profit making, and their general, client base is businesses and entrepreneurs. All commercial banks are regulated under which act? Which act? Banking Regulation Act of which year? 1995. Which year? 1949. Yes, it is 1949. Okay. You have three types of commercial banks, or sorry, you have two categories. In that, you have universal banks and you have the differential banks. Amongst the universal banks, you have the private sector banks, public sector banks, and foreign banks. And foreign banks. Okay, tell me, do you know what is FDI? Foreign direct investment. What does FDI mean? Foreign direct investment means? Okay. So let's say, for example, if I buy a share in your company, okay, if I buy a share in your company, so am I a part owner of your company or not? Yes, I'm a shareholder, which means I'm part owner. Now a foreigner buys one share in one of the firms. Is that foreign direct investment or not? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So he sends his currency, but here it has to be converted and then invested, no? If it is invested in India, it is FDI. Pakka. 100%. That person is a that person is a foreigner. That person has invested in India. He purchased how much? 1% of a company. Is it FDI or not? FDI. Okay. If I am asking so many times, it means it is wrong. Okay. If a person invests money worth more than 10%, more than 10% of value of the firm, 10% ownership says Zada. If it is more than 10% ownership, if somebody is taking a foreigner, then we call it as FDI. 10% or more. Anything less than that, if you buy 9% of a foreign company, right? Or if a foreigner buys 9% of an Indian firm or an Indian bank, what do we call it? We don't call it as FDI, we call it as foreign portfolio investment. Clear? So 10% rule again. Huh? So it's not only polity which has 10% rules, we also have 10% rules. So more than 10% FDI, less than 10% it is considered FPI. Done. Why did I tell this? Because in India, if you have some banks, private banks, if a foreigner wants to invest in this private bank, how much ownership can he get? How much ownership can he get? He can get 49% ownership. Understood? He can get how much? I'll tell you. 49% ownership he can get. That is under automatic route. A foreigner can own 49% of the firm or a bank, Indian bank, up to how much? 49%. Indian bank only. I am talking only about banks. Right? Under what route? Automatic route. I'll tell you what automatic route is. If he wants to own more, the maximum he can own is 74% under approval route. Under the approval route. Majority shareholder. So till this point, management control will not be in his side. After 49%, above 50%, it will be management control. Right? Who? Till here, he is just on the board of directors. After this, he becomes the owner itself. Okay. Now, what is this automatic route? What is this approval route? Okay, if you want to make an investment, let's say you are a foreigner, right? And I am an Indian. I am running a bank. Now I own 100% of my bank. You're a foreigner, so my bank's worth is 100 crore. You came from foreign country. We spoke, and I want to expand the business, right? I want to make the bank bigger. So you said you are ready to invest. Now, if you want to invest, let's say 40 crore rupees here, so I have to give you 40% ownership or not? Now, for this, there will be some formalities. So what you have to do? You have to bring 40 crore rupees worth of dollars. You bring 40 crore rupees worth of dollars, right? You bring it into India. Now, while you are bringing the dollars, the RBI will ask, why are you bringing it? I want to make an investment here. Where? In such and such a bank, right? So I will get 40% ownership there. Okay, fine. The RBI will check the rules. What is it? Automatic route. I will convert and give. Who will convert and give? RBI will convert the money and give 40 crore. You give 40 crore to me. Done. You're 40% owner. I am 60%. Done. No problem. Till what point you can do like this? Up to 49%. Done. Now, say for example, you want 51% or 60% ownership. You brought the money. RBI will take the money and check. Okay, it is only 49%. But you are bringing what? 60 crore rupees. 60 crore rupees worth of money you are wanting. I can give only up to 49 crore. Another 11 crore I will not be able to convert for you. Why I will not convert? Rules. Okay. If you want, what you can do? You have to take the approval route. What is this approval route? Go speak to the ministry, line ministry. What is line ministry? Any concerned ministry related to banking, which is that finance ministry. Go and speak to finance ministry. If finance ministry says okay, then I'll convert it and give it for you. Then you can go and invest. Up to what? 74% only. Up to 74 crore rupees, I'll convert for what purpose? For investment in which bank? In this Indian bank. Right? Now, if a foreigner wants to own 75% of my bank, is it possible? Is it possible to own 75% of my bank? It's not possible. The maximum he can own is ever 74% only. He can never get 75% ownership of an Indian bank. Why? These are the rules. These are called FDI rules. Now, this is for banks only. For insurance companies, rules will be different. These percentages will be different. Right? For pension firms, percentages will be different. FDI norms are different for different firms. Chemical firms, different. Fertilizer firms, different. Telecom firms, different. In telecom industry, it is 100% automatic route. A foreign telecom firm can come and invest in India 100%. It can own. Basically, I am running the telecom firm in India, let's say Airtel, right? Indian firm. A foreigner can come and buy 100% of Airtel because the rules allow. Clear? Foreign banks in India. I'll come to that. It is just to protect the domestic interest. That's it. This is for whom? Private banks. Sir, what about public sector banks? Who owns the public sector banks? The government owns the public sector banks. Can the foreigner invest in public sector banks as well? Yes, no. Huh? Who is the owner? Government is the owner. The FDI rules state that. Not even automatic. 20%. Foreign direct investment is allowed up to what level? 20%. How many private sector banks are there in India? Any idea? Twenty-one private sector banks. HDFC, for example, right, is an Indian bank or not? It's an Indian bank, but ownership, foreigners have more ownership. To what tune? 73% of it is owned by foreigners itself. 73%. Again, it's not how much? 74%. It is 73%. And then you have ICICI, 59%. Axis Bank, 52%. Right? Basically, the management control is under the foreigners itself in these banks. Next. Public sector banks. How many public sector banks are there in India? PSBs, public sector banks. How many are there? Government owned banks. How many are there? There's no point in listing, the private sector banks. Public sector banks you should be knowing at least. Name few. Let's see. SBI. Huh? Canara Bank. Okay. Oh, Canara and Syndicate are same. PNB, Punjab National Bank. Bank of Baroda. Bandhan Bank. No. Union Bank. Next. Bank of India. Yes. Indian Bank. Right. Bank of Maharashtra. Yes. Central Bank of India. Karur Vaishya Bank, it is merged now. Right. Now, total, how many you have? See, I'll just give you the numbers. There were 27. There were 27 public sector banks at one point. They got reduced to 21 first. Later on, they were reduced to 12. Sorry. Presently, we have only 12. The plan is to make them only 6. That's the plan, to make them only 6. So in SBI, how much percent do you think foreigners hold? 14%. They own 14% in SBI. So the plan is to make how much? 6. Presently, how many do we have? 12. It is because of merger. They have merged the banks. Okay. Now comes the foreign banks. What about the foreign banks? What about the foreign banks? Who owns them? The foreigners own them. The thing is, they are not registered as a firm in India. They are registered in a foreign country. They're registered in a foreign country. Firm registration, you have to get it done, no? Right? In India, under Companies Act, they get registered. Here, the registration is not under India's Companies Act. It is a foreign Companies Act. So, incorporation. So, rather than registration, you call it as incorporation in foreign country itself, not in India. Then, how does it exist here? It is a subsidiary. It operates as a subsidiary, or it operates as a branch, only as a branch. It's an extension of a foreign bank. That's it. A representative office. Right? Just like that. It's not what? It's not a full-scale bank as such. It's like a branch here. Yes, bank. Is it a foreign bank or an Indian bank? It's an Indian bank. I'll give you the examples. City is one. Presently, City is not there. Citibank is not there. I think it has been transferred to Axis. Okay. Deutsche Bank. Yes. Nosh Bank. BNP Paribas. BNP Paribas. These are not famous banks. As in, we don't get to see many. Only in metropolitan cities here and there you find these banks. That's it. Normal people, they don't know much about it. DBS, right? HSBC. HSBC is famous. I know. HSBC. Credit Suisse, right? These are what? These are the foreign banks. How do they operate? As a branch or a subsidiary here. That's it. Regulated by RBI. The branch will be regulated by RBI itself. The rules applicable are of RBI itself. Next. Federal Bank. Obviously, it is a foreign bank. Yes, their target is much more about what businesses only. Okay. Next, nationalization.
So then the banks in public sector banks in India open a branch in foreign branch.
Yes, it will be a foreign branch. Maybe the foreign country allows 100% ownership. As in, you can open a startup branch, they start a bank itself there. They may allow.
For example, sir, Canada Bank is having a branch in England. So that is a foreign bank for
It is a foreign bank for whom? No, for them. For us, it is a branch in a foreign country. Right? For us, we don't call it as a foreign bank. We say Indian bank's foreign branch. Right? We say overseas branch. Yes?
the same thing will be for them.
Yes, it's the same thing for them. Yeah.
Does the bank list that we are commercial bank?
Yes. I'll come to that. There are targets as well. That is why the banks have been given the targets by the RBI, right? How you should be giving the loans and all. So also there is target. So we'll discuss about that. Okay. The next thing is national. We'll come there eventually. Okay, bank nationalization. Have you heard of nationalization of banks? Yes? Yes, no? Heard of them? Okay. So the first bank to be nationalized is RBI itself. What is it? RBI was owned by whom earlier? By merchants, right? So only 4.5% ownership was there for the British government. The rest of it was owned by merchants. And then it was transferred, as in the government took the ownership. So RBI transfer of ownership was the act. Which year? 1949. Correct. So that was the first nationalization. After this, there was one more nationalization that happened. Which was the nationalization? SBI nationalization. Which year? 1955. 1955. So 1949 RBI, 1955 SBI. After this, there was a round of nationalization, which was in 1969. 14 banks were nationalized. 14 banks were purchased by the government. How many? 14 banks. Yes. Acquired, basically, acquired. They have to pay, no? See, if you are a private, obviously you have to buy, no? Say you are a person who has started the bank. I am the government. I cannot just come and say, hey, leave your bank and go. I can't say this, no? So I have to purchase. Again in 1980, 6 more banks were nationalized. Okay. Next. So 1948, 49. Okay. 48, 49. 49 is the fiscal year. So 48, 49. After 1955, there was one more nationalization that happened that was not of the banks, that was of insurance companies. 1956. This is also nationalization itself. However, of what? Not of the banks, of insurance companies. LIC, Life Insurance Corporation, was created and it took over what? All the other life insurance companies in India. That was also nationalized of sort. Many other private life insurance companies that existed, they were taken over. They were purchased. In 63, a small level of, I would not say nationalization, it would be more like merger. Merger was initiated. Of whom? State Bank of Bikaner and Jaipur. State Bank of Bikaner and State Bank of Jaipur. They were merged with whom? SBI. They are called the associate banks. Okay. Jaipur. Jaipur and Bikaner. Rajasthan. And then 1973, again it is not related to bank nationalization. GIC took over. What is GIC? General Insurance Company. It took over what? The private non-life insurance companies. Private non-life insurance companies, basically nationalization of non-life insurance companies. So this is the nationalization timeline. So you remember this and then add these things. Easy to remember. First remember these 4 and then add these things. Easy to remember. Next. So why was nationalization being done? Simple. Why did they start nationalization in the first place? Nationalization was started because the banking sector was mostly giving loans to whom? To the businesses and traders and merchants. The government wanted the banking industry to serve the agriculture sector, the poorer sections, the small industries, the micro industries. Basically, it wanted to serve the disadvantaged sections. They also wanted the credit. Right? Now, banks were not ready. The private banks will never be ready. And will they be ready to, if it is a private bank, will they be ready to open the bank branches in rural area? No. That is why, what if I, own these banks? The government will buy these banks. Now the government can open branches in rural areas or not? Now it can give the loans or not? So that's what was done with nationalization. So they already had the branches here and there. They were acquired. Now the government owns it. Government can open the branches in rural areas. So are you not causing financial inclusion by doing this? Yes or no? What is financial inclusion? If the financial services are able to reach the grassroots level, then we say there is financial inclusion. What are financial services? Banking, insurance, pension, right? Credit as in loans. If these things are able to reach the grassroots level, then we say financial inclusion is happening. Subsidies is not financial inclusion. We can say it is under inclusive growth. It's for promoting inclusive growth. We use subsidies. Right? So did credit growth happen in rural areas? Yes. What is credit growth? More loans were given to poor people or not? Yes. To rural areas, more loans.